Well, it is the morning of the 4th of December today, 2017, and we had a pretty good snowstorm last night, and it got down to 20 degrees. And in here, the thermometer says it got down to, I don't know if you can see that, but it got down to only 48 degrees in here. So that's 28 degrees differential. That's really good. I think we're going to make it through the winter. Anyway, at the moment it is 60 degrees, as you can see, and I think outside it's well below freezing. I can't remember what it is, but this is going to work. This is going to work, I think. Anyway, the snow has to slide off of that. This side, the snow has begun sliding off, as you can see, because it's so warm in here. Anyway, this is going to work. This is great. Oh, I don't know if you caught that, another big chunk of snow just fell off. Now, if you look very carefully, you can see some of the fish come up for food there. I put a little bit of fish food in there, and that's pretty cold water, and usually goldfish will hibernate when it gets that cold, but they're still coming up looking for water. Now, you saw there's another one. You can see the gold shadow there, way on the end, way out there. I don't know if you saw that, but they're active and moving around. So even the fish pond at 47 degrees, the fish are still active. Not very active. I don't know if you saw that one. Not very active, but still a little bit active. They are obviously moving around quite sluggishly, but they're moving and they're still alive. Well, it is the 15th of December today, and we've had some fairly cold days up to this point. I think this December for us has been a little colder than the normal what you'd expect so far. We've been in, and these are all degrees Fahrenheit. We've been down as low as 5 degrees, and it seems like in the last couple of weeks we hit 15 and 20 in that area a lot. Now, right now outside, it is it's in the afternoon right now, and outside it's about 28 degrees Fahrenheit right now. But this is working, and let me just review what we did and how things are going. Let me show you this. Now, all I have here is for heat is this little heater, and all this is, again, let me review it with you, is it's just a box fan that you can buy, at any store. They're about 20 bucks, and I've got an automobile radiator that I bought at a wrecking yard, and I put it on this side, and it's just a box, and I have hot water flowing through it. Now, the water that's flowing through it, is the normal water that circulates through the greenhouse and the other ones I have, but the temperature that it maintains is about 115 degrees. So it's not really that warm. Again, that's Fahrenheit. So it's not that warm, but it's enough to do this. Now, if you look here, I don't know if you can see that, but that shows the cold temperature last night in here. And if you can't see it, it's 39 degrees. Now, last night outside, it got down to 13 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And all I have is this heater and this one here. It's just an extra little, little space heater that you can buy. Runs 1500 watts, and I just plugged it in for added assurance, and it's working. As you can see, there's some tomatoes here, and this tomato is actually growing. I put this string on here, if you can see it, the other day to measure it, and the string was at the very top of any growth, and as you can see it's growing. It was only a couple days ago I put that on there, so things are growing, and you can see that there are tomatoes here that are maturing. I just picked a bunch of them, but see, this thing is putting out shoots and flowers, and see, they're pollinating. There's some small tomatoes there, so it is working. See, here's another bunch of tomatoes. One thing I have noticed, though, because it's not that warm in here, I think looking at this thermometer, you can see it's about 68 degrees in here right now. And again, it's pretty cold outside. But at these temperatures where the high at the most it gets to 70 degrees now, you can see that the growth rate of these plants slows down. These tomatoes are not growing as quickly and maturing tomatoes as fast as they used to. But they're still growing. They're still producing tomatoes, which is what I want. Now over here I want to show you, I think I've shown you before, I planted some red sail lettuce, and you can see how that's growing. And here's some spinach, and that's growing. And here's some radishes. You can see a couple of new ones coming up. Now I've pulled out 4 or 5 of them already that I had growing in, and they're growing really well, and they're really good tasting radishes. So here's another one that's ready to be pulled out, and another one here. I think I'll pull that one out today. And then we've got Swiss chard here, and that's doing quite well. It's doing quite well. Now I want to show you something else over here that I've been doing. In the south greenhouse, I have given up on that because it actually just froze in there, and so what the heck, I had to give it up. But these are some of the Romanesco broccoli that I had in there. And even though it froze in there, it got down to 21 degrees Fahrenheit several times in there, these actually are still alive and they're still growing. So I pulled them out during the day when the ice thawed out in there and planted them in here, and they seem to be recovering. Some of them look like they've had a rough time, but they're not dead. They're recovering, and I'm going to start putting those in here. Now the broccoli, this regular Sun King broccoli, has gone to seed, and I don't know if that's because of the previous when it was too hot in here, and now that it's cold, but it has gone to seed, and you can see there's new broccoli shoots coming up, but they're not bunched nearly as tight as they used to be. And maybe that's when it gets too cold it does that. I really don't know. Maybe someone else does. But you can see over here, there's some new broccoli shoots, but they're not nearly as tight-headed as they used to be. But they're still growing, and they're still producing flowers, and see, they're still trying to grow. And here's what's left of the old cabbage. It's still alive and growing well, although but I better pull that out of there. Anyway, and then here's just this kale, this kale red boar kale, I think is what it's called. That was planted in November 20th, and today again it's December 15th, so it's been almost a month, and these are coming up really nice. And here's a remnant spinach plant that I had. I better pull the leaves off of that. And these are just some beets that I planted in here, and they're growing. Anyway, that's kind of the update. As you can see, the pond is not freezing anymore like it did last year. If you want to see that, how this thing went through last year without any heat or circulation, I'll post a little link that you can see how this greenhouse worked last year. But anyway, there it is, and got to pull these grapes out of here because they're, the end of the season, they're done. These bunch of grapes over here are they're green grapes, and they're seedless, and they're very good. We got a lot of grapes off of this. But these grapes over here, as you can see, there's still some hanging there. These are purple grapes, as you can see, and these have seeds in them. And I don't like those, and we don't like those, so what I'm going to do this, as time goes on, when I get to it, I'm going to pull all of these out because they're no good to us, and we'll plant something else in here. But and for those of you who might be interested, let me just show you some of the things over here. This is okra, and like I say, it's been rather cool in here, and it's hydroponic or aquaponic, and the okra plants are still growing. They're just growing very, very slowly, but they're still growing, and I think that's kind of interesting. But anyway, so there it is. And oh yeah, the other thing I need to show you is what I've done with the insulation. All I did was on the outside, I just put another layer on the inside. I put another layer of plastic and stapled it to the roof line on the studs on the top there. And then I've covered up with plastic other things, other areas to try to make it airtight. And along the bottom here, as you can see that dirt where it's a little bit wet there, some mornings that is actually ice. There's a cake of ice there. So I'm going to try to put on this side what I have on this side, and that is you know, some bubble wrap type shiny insulation. And look at that, I'll show you right down here. See, I don't know if you can see that very well here, but right along there, there's ice. That's showing you how cold it is right there at the bottom. So I think this is really helping. Anyway, sun comes up, there's no problem in here at all, but overnight, that's when it gets down to the teens. And still in January, historically, it can get you know, down to 10 or 20 below zero a couple of times you know, a season. So let's hope this lasts, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's the update for today, December 15th.